G'day everyone, welcome to another show, Speedcars Down Under. Tonight we've got special guest Troy Jordan joining us on the show. Welcome, Troy.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, good mate, yourself?
Good, buddy. Good. Cold.
It is cold, yeah. I reckon you'd be about the same as what we are down here. I think it's about 8 degrees down here at the moment in Tassie.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No, I've
yeah.
had to crank up the heater, mate. But she's yeah, all good.
That's the way. Paul's not joining us tonight. I don't know where Paul is. Paul's missing in action, so it's just me and you tonight. So I'll see how I go, but he knows
No
a bit
worries.
more about you speak boys than what I do. I'm still sort of learning this, but we'll see how we go.
No, we'll get you schooled up. That means I can tell a lot of lies then.
Excellent. I like your style, Troy. So, how do you rate your season that's just finished, Troy? You're off season now. How do we rate
Yeah,
last season?
yeah. We're off season now. We didn't really have much of a season last year. I kind of, I've been I haven't been driving for the last 6 or 7 years, and I just got kind of this bug. So we slapped a car together pretty quickly. I said I was going to build it for this upcoming season, but I ended up slapping it together in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
And literally within 2 weeks, we had it built and we're at a racetrack. So we we did a kind of bit of I guess, a practice meeting and just a shakedown of the car, and then it was straight to the Aussie title. So it was no mucking around, really.
And the car so well presented to it, the Australian title. It really caught my eye. Like it was really shiny and very clean and tidy. Like what goes into making a car look like that? Much work, or you just got great
Um,
fan riders?
no, I mean these days it's not really hard to make a nice race car
Yep.
because all the parts are so nice, and everything just bolts together. Go back even 20 years ago, maybe 15. Like it was quite intricate to build a speed car, but now it's all bolt together. And then we got a guy over here, Andy FX. And he's a bit of a driver as well. He drove for Domain for a while there, but he does some pretty nice artwork. And this car was a bit of a tribute to AJ Foyt. And if you go back and see his old Roadster, he had a very similar paint job. So
Yeah.
we always, the race car prior to that was Parnelli Jones. So we always try and find an old timer and kind of revive it up.
That's the way. That's the way. So tell me what first got you involved in motorsport? I know you're a third generation. Is that right?
Yeah. So man, it's a hell of a history, and like a long story. Now we haven't got all night, but my granddad worked for Ansett and was a fabricator at Ansett, and he used to go to Tracy Speedway, which was a city venue in Melbourne. Back in I guess the 50s, when maybe earlier than that, when speed cars were at they were called midgets and they were at the height of their game. I think they'd get crowds of like 15 to 20,000 out there. And so he was involved in it. And then my dad, once he, got, I don't know, 16, 17, he started racing speedway. And it wasn't long before he started racing midgets. So, so I'm the third generation to do it. So it was really, hanging around with with dad that got us into it. Like those early years, traveling around the country in the back of an F100, just gave us the bug.
Yeah. And he had some big names race for him over the years too. I'm reading here Jeff Gordon from NASCAR, Stan Fox from IndyCar, World of Outlaws drivers Brian Brown and Jimmy Sills. There's some big names like to come over here and sort of race.
Yeah, look, he drove himself for a few years, but he was in the oil game, so he ended up like living in the States and traveling a lot. And yeah, like he had a lot of drivers. I mean, that's a few you've named, but everyone. I made a list today, and there was like 30 odd Americans, but people. Let me grab this sheet here. But Parnelli Jones. Who else was it? Alex Bright, who's a bit more recent. You had Aussies Robbie Farr, Ian Lewis, Dane Kingshot. I mean, as I said, there's got to be 30, 40 names that drove for my dad in either a sprint car or a midget, speed car.
Yeah, righto. So what did your dad prefer? Did he prefer the sprint car to the speed car, or
No,
couldn't he?
he was definitely a speed car guy,
Yep,
100%.
yep,
Um, yeah, I mean, at one point there, go back to the 80s, everyone used to use an autocraft engine, and he ended up even going into partnership with them and owned half the company. I mean, he loves speed cars
yeah,
without
righto.
a doubt, and he did, he did like the sprint cars, but yeah, definitely speed cars. And the biggest twist in all that, and we used to get hounded a lot. Like he never actually got. He had three boys, and none of us ever really drove for him when we were younger.
Yeah, righto.
Which was, I mean, he treated it pretty professionally, and he always had professional drivers in his cars.
Yep.
And yeah, we just never really got the opportunity. And it wasn't until later on in life. I mean, I think I was 28. My dad, they had a touring car he did a deal with Jeff Kendricks from Perth,
Yep.
and they were racing Bathurst, and we were just at the pub, and I'm like, look, can I ever go on a midget? And he's like, yeah, no problem. And I got to drive one of the. It wasn't the latest and greatest, but it was good enough, and I got a taste for it. And that's really, like I said, I was 28 before I raced speed cars, so
Yeah, righto.
quite right.
Did we do any earlier stuff before speed cars, or?
No, I raced BMX when I was a kid, so a heap of BMX racing.
Yep.
And then I did a bit of go-kart racing, which I did quite well at it. Like I found it pretty natural to do. But yeah, but it wasn't really till I was 28. I had to drive his cars, and like I said, they weren't the latest and greatest, and he didn't really want them to be raced as such.
Yep.
It was actually a car that Stan Fox drove, and yeah, I remember going out to the track, and Ian Lewis was driving. He had two cars. Ian Lewis was driving the other one, and he had to show me how to put tear-offs on and how to get them off. So, I really had no idea, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. So you late starter really compared to most drivers nowadays. Like
Yeah,
most drivers nowadays
100%.
starting young.
Yeah. And, like I was a professional musician.
Yep.
That's what I did for a living. So, I mean, I was busy with that, but I always loved cars. And those first few years of racing speed cars, or for many years, I was doing both things. So, sometimes I'd race down at Avalon, which is maybe an hour out of the city,
Yep.
and I'd jump out of the car by, say, 10:30, and then straight to the Crown Casino to do gigs. So
You're
it
right.
was it was pretty full on.
So what band did we play with, Troy?
So I played with a cover band called Crazy House,
Yep.
and we just did all top 40 stuff, party stuff. But it was, in Melbourne, it was like we got 17 years out of it, and we played 5 nights a week in all the big nightclubs. And so yeah, it was a great lifestyle. And a lot of people used to say to me, "Oh, what's your real job?" But it was like a company. Like we made more money than a dentist.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. And you've been over to America as well, raced in the USAC series. Is that correct? Correct?
Yeah. So what I did is, as I said, I had to drive in my dad's car and loved it. And then there was a guy in the Victorian Club, Sam Papa, that was putting a car together, and he said to me, "Oh, look, you help me finish the car and you can run it." So he gave me a start, and then I ended up buying a car off the Power family that used to belong to my dad.
Yep.
And I raced that for a bit, and that was great. And then one of the Aussie titles that was coming up, I leased a more modern day midget. At the time, Fontanas and Gerties were all the go. So the car I had was a low bar car, so it was a high bar car, and I went and did the national title, and it was chalk and cheese. Like in that car, that first car, I had that autocraft. I mean, I was racing against Adam Clark and Brett Morris and these guys, and we'd always, I mean, we didn't win many races. Probably if we did okay in Victoria, but nationally we didn't do much. And once I had a drive of a proper midget or speed car, I realised why, because
Yep.
it was like double the power. So I got into that, and then I'm like, well, I've got to buy a proper car. So I went over to the States, and I crewed for the Lewis 9 team, the Beast with Bob East, and at the time I was just going to buy myself a like a Fontana and a Stealth or something. But I ended up buying a car off the Lewis team, which was state of the art. And I did a few races while I was there with the car, with the Power at the time in Illinois. And then I brought the car back to Australia, and we never looked back. Like it was, I mean, would have been one of the best, well, if not the best car in the country, one of the best.
Yeah.
And that's when I really kind of got going. So
And over in America, is there much difference between racing over there to over here?
yeah, look, I went and did so. I don't know what year. I think it was maybe 2002. No, it would have been later than that. Maybe 210 or something. Anyway, I went over. I did a deal. My dad had a driver from the States come over, Darren Hagen,
Yep.
and he drove for my dad. And then he goes, "Oh, if you want to come and race in America, I'll sort something out for you." So I end up. He was driving for Keith Coons, KKM, and I end up buying a roller off them, and it cost me nothing really, looking back.
Yep.
And my dad gave me a motor to take over there, and we worked out of Keith Coons' workshop and put the motor in the car. And then Keith took me to midget week. So essentially, I really wasn't driving for his team, but my car went in the transport, and he helped me the whole week, which was amazing. And these days I think a drive with Keith Coons is like $300,000 for the year. I think it's something like 5 or 7,000 a night. And I did it for free, which was good. And he had some really good drivers with him, and we did really well. Like we always qualified well and made. They have a thing over there where they invert the top 20.
Yep.
And we'd always make the inversions, which was good. So for the heats, we'd kind of start up the front. They'd put the fastest out of, say, P6. And anyone out of that 20, say if there was, I think at the time there was like 40 odd cars would turn up.
Yep.
So the top 20 would start in that top 6, and then the rest would be at the back. And we'd always be in that group. But man, drop that flag going into the first corner, like you'd go from first to last pretty quickly, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's what Tom Payette said the other week when we interviewed him. It was like he was racing against 30 or 40 Caden Browns.
Yeah, it's like, I think like I would go to tracks like over here, and I think it's changed a little bit there now, but over here, we go to a track and we go out and we do some hot laps, and then we do our heats. Over there, I'd go to the track. I would not get any hot laps. You just went out and did 2 laps of qualifying.
Yeah, right.
Like when I went to Lawrenceburg, we rolled up in the car park, and I could kind of see through this fence. I could see the track, but I was actually thinking, well, what's that thing over there, that steep hill? But it was actually the banking on the track.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, they were just. I mean, a lot of people like to go over to America to race, and I mean, I did it as well, but. These guys are racing against each other night after night. They've been to those tracks a million times.
Yep.
The Yanks come over here and race, and we can do quite well against them here. But, you got to remember they're coming over. Half of them are jet lagged.
Yep.
They are in cars they haven't driven before, and they don't know any of the drivers they're driving against, and they don't really know the tracks. And they still are at the top of the field, right? But when you go over there, that's all the same what happens to you. You don't know the tracks. You don't know the drivers. And you're not racing 4 or 5 nights a week either,
Yeah.
So I was, probably like Tom, I spent a lot of time in B mains. But and I hang my head pretty low at the time because, it would have been nice to make some features. But, Bobby's come up to me and he said, mate, like, have a look who's in the B main with you. Yeah. And sure enough, there was people that had won Aussie titles, and like Americans that come over here, the Jerry Coons and Corey Cruiseman and these guys that were top guys when they come and race here.
Yep.
We're in the B, so it's not really a disgrace. It is a great experience, and I recommend anyone to go and do it.
Well, it's definitely got to be a different eye opener. They say New Zealand's a lot of elbows up. Australia's completely different to New Zealand, and America's completely different again. So that for a driver that travels around the world racing at every single country, it'd make it very interesting for them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, look, America. There's some guys like I'm just trying to think now. Matt Smith went over to the States, and his dad just left him there for 3 or 4 months, and he raced weekly, and you learn so much, and that's if I think if you really want to have a go at the States, you kind of have to be committed to be there for a full season, and it is very difficult to just go and fly in and have good races. And, maybe people see Michael Pickens do that, but they forget what he did. And Michael Pickens lived in America and,
Yeah.
he was racing all the time over there. And that's to have some success, you just have to do the same thing.
Yep, exactly right. Um,
Mm.
any plans on going back, Troy? Or
Um, well, I've always wanted to do the Chili Bowl.
yeah,
So, that's probably something I'll go do.
yeah,
I mean, we've got this upcoming season, and we'll have a fair dinkum crack at it this year. And if we get back to where we want to be, then I'd love to go and do something like the BC 39 as well.
yeah, yep, yep,
But I mean, I wouldn't want to go over there and get in the way. So,
yep, yep.
but I mean, I think with the Chili Bowl, as long as you know how to drive a midget, you can go and do it. And you know, some guys that have been, absolute rocket ships have gone and done it and gone nowhere. So I don't really, I think it's a lot of luck and it is a lot of skill, of course, but I think it's something anyone can go do, providing you know how to drive a midget.
Is it very expensive to go over there racing, or is it pretty much the same as over here?
Um, it's probably, to be quite honest with you, man, it's probably cheaper if you're based in the States,
Yep.
you've got your own money over there, it's cheaper.
Yeah, right.
No doubt about it. Like fuel's cheaper to get to races. Races are more local. Parts are cheaper. You can get them from anywhere. So yeah, it's cheaper.
I suppose
But
big.
if you want it, oh sorry.
You're all right, mate. Keep going.
No, I was just going to say, if you want to, you know, what Tom Payette or Caden Manders just did, that wouldn't have been a cheap exercise because you're just flying in. It's not easy to do it that way.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. So you've been racing for over 20 years now, is that correct?
Yeah, long time, man. Like
Long
as I
time?
said, I think my rookie season was 98.
Yep.
So it's 27 years.
Yeah.
And as I said, I haven't really raced for the last 5 or 6 years.
Yep.
What I did do, I probably like I said, 5 or 6 years ago, there was a team looking to put Dave, they wanted to bring Dave Darlin over and they needed a car. And I happened to have a Toyota, stealth Toyota in the garage. So we took the car over to Adelaide and Dave come out and raced it. And so that was my first time as a team owner.
Yep.
And then, that was actually, it was harder being on the other side of the fence than driving when it comes to nerves.
Yep.
And especially, I mean, I don't think it would matter who I put in my car, but having Dave Darlin, I didn't want anything to go wrong, for him.
Yeah.
So just the nerves. I remember saying to Dave, actually, we had the South Australian title the week before. And I said, mate, like the national title's next week. So just go and do this and just find your feet and, just take it easy. And he was so lovely,
Yep.
Yeah, no worries, Troy. Goes out straight on the fence, like 2 centimeters off the fence.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember if he comes second or he did quite well. And then the national title, he was running second. Actually, it was the year that Caden won.
Yep.
And he was running second to Caden, and there was still quite a few laps to go. And Dave's pretty cluey, he knows how to get a race car around. And we had a power steering line, not let go, but like a needle pin. It was rubbing on the chassis, and it put a tiny hole in the power steering, and it cost us the race. So it was great to see Caden win and see the excitement of his dad on the fence, with Caden winning. So I reflect now, and I'm glad. I'm glad the outcome was what it was. It was probably the best outcome for a bad outcome. But yeah, like it kind of got away from us, and that wasn't no fault of Dave's.
So is there
So
interest in being a team owner after your racing career finishes, Troy, or
say that again, mate.
is there interest with you as being a team owner after you finish racing, or?
So after the Dave Darling thing, I gave it a rest for a couple of years. We didn't do too much. We didn't do anything. And then a couple of years ago, my cousin and I decided to put a team together, and we bought. Well, we always planned to bring out Thomas Meserole Team-Mez for the national title.
Yep.
And prior to that, we had a couple of New Zealanders. We had Hayden Williams drive the car, and he did a great job and won some races in it. And then Team-Mez come out. He runs third at the national title. He once again, we were cursed with a little bit of bad luck. One of his heat races, he'd come in third in the heat race, and they called him to the scales, but he didn't actually hear it, and they disqualified us, which hurt us a little bit. But he still come third. He come second at the New South Wales title the week before. So that was a lot of fun. He went back to the States, and then we had Michael Pickens did a race in the car, and it was great being a team owner, but we kind of did it for the season and said, we just let it go after that. And then that was going to be it. And then, as I said, I built this car, and this year I'll do some racing, but most likely I've been talking to a couple of Americans to coming out for some of the bigger races. So
Yeah, right.
we'll do a bit of both. And I think, once, like I said, we'll give this season a great hit. And if I feel like I'm, at the pointy end, I'll continue until I'm not at the pointy end.
Yep.
But if we don't get to where we want to be, then I'll just stick. I won't get rid of the car, but yeah, we'll just do. I'll be a complete team owner and just keep putting, drivers in the car.
Yeah, right. So we're looking at the Adelaide 500 race, are we?
Yeah, we've actually, we put our submission in with and we've Hayden Williams has agreed to come over, the New Zealander.
Yep.
So yeah, super excited. We haven't heard yet, if we're in or not. I think that this week they might let everyone know.
Yep.
But Hayden comes second at this year's national title.
Yeah.
And he's a class act, and our equipment's great. So I'd be expecting we would be in, but you never know in this deal. So, but yeah, I think that's just going to be so good for midget racing.
Oh yeah, it certainly will be. I'm hoping that they get a big turnout for that. It'd be awesome to see that on the calendar. As a regular thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have good cars there, and they'll put on great racing. I didn't go to the track last year because it was sprint cars, and or we just weren't there. But
yeah,
I believe the track's pretty small. I think it'll be fantastic, man.
So does that mean Hayden Williams is going to do a full season with you blokes, or just a couple of races?
No, well, he'll just, at this point, he's just locked in for that. And then, I'm pretty, I can't say anything because it's not locked in, but we'll have a yank for the national title.
Yep.
And then I'll do some racing, and we'll go from there,
So is Simpson your home track in Victoria, Troy, or?
Yeah, it is. I'm not a massive, for me personally, it's pretty technical track.
Yep.
And I'm not, it's not probably my favorite track. But I mean, not like they do a class act down there. They're amazing down at Simpson, what they put together, and they prepare a great racetrack. It's just not my favorite track to drive on. But it's in Victoria, and I'm in Victoria, so that's going to make life a lot easier.
Yeah, you got a Victorian title there the week before too, I think, haven't we?
Yeah, so we'll bring, the American will come out, maybe for a 2-week stint, and he'll go and do the Vic title and then the national title.
Yeah, cool. And it'd be good to see the Americans back there this season because we didn't have them with the Australian title just gone.
Yeah, the dates all clashed a bit, but no, it will be good. We did try to put Team-Mez in the car at the Adelaide 500, but he's got a pretty big commitment with the sprint car.
Yep.
So we've decided, like I said, Hayden was so good to work with, and he's a full gasser, and he's really good to work with actually. So that's going to be great.
And where do we rate Team-Mez, mate? Is Is he as good a driver as what everyone says he is? I've seen a lot of videos, and he can definitely wheel.
Yeah, yeah. Look, yeah, no, he's a good driver. There's no doubt about it. He's a good driver. I mean, and like maybe not. He's been developing that new motor and in doing different things with Angler over in the States at the moment, and I think that's not as easy as what people think.
Yeah.
But Tim Mez is a great driver. There's no doubt about it. But so like we discussed, there's 30 Yanks that race USAC that are all as good.
Yep.
And and these young kids now, I mean, I'm certainly aging, but these young kids in the States, they're red hot, mate. They're paying big bucks and they just get told, they don't worry about a thing. Just drive the car.
And they're racing at such a young age in America too. I think a mate on said he jumped out of a Formula 500 over there, and he's like 40 odd, was Australian Formula 500 champion at the time, and he jumped out and got beat by this kid, and he was like 12 years old.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I remember when Jeff Gordon come out to Australia. I think I was 18 at the time, and he was 16. And back then, 16 was young in the States, but that's just completely common now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, at the time when Jeff Gordon come out here, I'm just like, oh, who's this punk kid? Just another kid that's driving my dad's car. I mean, I look back now and I really, what the friendship I could have created with, with that guy. But yeah, we didn't care. It's just like I said, just another Yank driving my dad's car.
Yep. And is your dad still around at Speedway soon?
No, he's not, bro. He actually passed away probably 6 months ago. So,
Yep.
yeah, but right up until right up until he passed away, he continued to help people.
Yeah.
Like I said, he and by the way, I did eventually drive for my dad.
Yeah.
And and my younger brother drove one of his cars, and my older brother did, and both my cousins did. So he did look after his family,
Yeah.
but yeah, he had so many Australians and Americans. There's not many people that couldn't say he didn't help them, or do something with them. And in the last few years, Peter Gent's kid Dylan, Dad helped them a lot, which was really nice.
Yep. 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 Sorry to hear that about your father, mate.
Yeah, no, all good, mate. All good. We all got to go at some point.
Yes, unfortunately we do, don't we? So what kind of car do you race, Troy, and what engine package you got inside it?
Yeah, so I've bought now I've got a Chevy, and I've always had kind of just push rod motors. So we had I've had Ed Pinks and Chevs, and so yeah, this one's a Chevy. It's a KRE built it up in Queensland.
Yep.
And prior to that, I had an S-Slinger, which is overhead cam, and yeah, I just never felt really comfortable with the overhead cam stuff. So when this motor come up, we jumped at it. It was a fresh motor, and they're great,
Yeah, and the Toyotas seem to dominate in America. You don't really see them as much over here, do you?
Well, they're super expensive.
Yeah.
And the States, yeah, they're really all using Toyota and the SR11s.
Yeah.
I don't know the full history of the Toyota thing, but I believe that I know when they first started, they only gave them to certain teams. So it didn't matter how much money you had. You couldn't just go buy one.
Yeah.
You had to, they selected teams they used them for. And I'm not sure if they're even making fresh ones anymore.
Yeah, right.
But I could be wrong on that. So I could be, it might have to be stand corrected. But even those motors over there, they race those motors on the chip the whole time. So
yeah, Tom said something about that.
Yeah, they just like I said, it's the kids that are racing them. They've got no interest in looking after the motor.
Yeah, right.
Where and in Australia, I mean, I think Caden's got a Toyota, but if you look at the motor we've got's the same motor as Nick Parker's.
Yep.
And Nick's can keep up with Caden, and
yeah, my word.
And then there's plenty of other people with Chevys that can do it. So he's a little different to America. Probably one of the biggest thing that would hurt us out here is, well, in USAC they always qualify,
Yeah.
and if you don't qualify well, you're in trouble. So if you took my motor over to the States and had to qualify in it, I'm not sure how it would go up against the Toyotas.
Yeah, righto. Yep. Yep.
Regardless of who was in it.
Do you think that's why the Americans find it a lot easier to come to Australia than what we do to go to America? Is because they've got more time on the track over here than what they do in America before they actually have to go racing?
Yeah, well, I think it'd help, like, yeah, they come over here. I mean, like I said, they find it easier when they come here and get results because, they're just better. These guys are doing it all the time.
Yeah, because
they're not born better. They're not born better, but, they're just doing it all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're racing 5 days a week, which is a big difference to 2 days a week.
Yeah, well, at minimum, they're kind of 3 days a week, right? And they're just and they've done it from such an early age, and they've the competition that they're all good, like it's just so different to here.
And you got 20 tracks.
Sorry?
And you got 20 tracks within a 500-kilometre range.
Yeah, there's tracks everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely the Midwest, you'll hear a lot of people from California and they'll talk about their racing and they'll say, oh, when we wanted to get serious, we moved to the Midwest.
Yep.
So, the Midwest, there's races everywhere. And the thing is too, I guess we think about midget week and let's go to midget week or the Chili Bowl, but you can go and race in California or Illinois, or there's lots of places that you can go and race and, you can win races because there are people that have jobs and, they just race on Saturdays. It's not at the same level as USAC. So you can go to the States and win races, just not easy to do at USAC. That's for sure.
Yeah. Cool. But yeah, over here we have hot laps. And then you got your heats, and then you got your B mains and A mains over there. I think it's straight into time trials, isn't it? And then straight into heats.
Yeah, well, they used to not get hot laps, but they do actually get hot laps now.
All right, yeah.
So they get a couple of hot laps, and then they'll do their time trial. And like I said, that's an inversion. So the top 20 will make the inversion, and then the rest are tacked onto the back of the heats.
Yeah. And what's your keep going, Troy, sorry.
No, I was going to say, and it makes it difficult if you don't make the inversion because you're essentially starting like from the best you can start if you don't make the inversion is position 7. And you've got to go from 7th into the top 4. And now if you're the fast qualifier, he's starting out of 6, but keep in mind, he's the fast qualifier. So, he's going to get, well, most of the time they get through. But you're 7th, that means you're the 21st car, you know what I mean? And so that is difficult to make a show. It is very difficult.
Do you like the time trial format? What's your thoughts on time trials?
I love it personally because, I mean, I haven't had to do any for years now, but there used to be a series out here, Speedcar Super Series, and we'd always qualify in the top 5. Like that's something I was good at. So I do actually like to qualify.
Cool. Excellent. So where do we see the team in 5 years, Troy? Are we still going to be doing what we're doing now, or?
I think I'll do, I think I'll have a midget until I step into the grave, to be honest with you. Like I'm so addicted to the sport. I seen someone get interviewed recently and the interviewer said to the guy, do you just wake up in the morning and think about race cars and then go to bed thinking about them? And the guy said, no, not really. And I thought, that's all I do. I'm just so passionate about it. And, if I'm talking about race cars, I'm happy. I mean, even with my work sometimes, I'm in the bicycle industry, but, there's a lot of time I'll be talking about race cars, So I think you said 5 years, but, until I'm in the grave, I'll have a midget,
And that's what the sport needs, mate. More blokes like you that are passionate about it. That's for sure.
Yeah, look, there's definitely families that are. There's there's a lot of people that are so passionate and have done this is their legacy is midget racing.
Yeah.
And then there's guys who come in and come out, and some of them come in for a short time and do really well, or you know, but yeah, not everyone's the same. I don't know who's the stupid one. Probably me, really. Yeah,
We only live one life, you might as well make the
yeah,
most of it while you're here, mate. And that, I like that. That's great. I really
yeah.
reckon that's great.
Mm.
Seen a few trophies in behind you there, mate. There's a lot of trophies in that room you're sitting in.
Mate, as I said, there's not really. I mean, there's maybe 20 up on the shelf, and I
Yeah.
still do a bit of go-kart racing. So, last season I had a good season in the go-kart. We're on the podium, most weekends. But most of the trophies now, mate. I mean, 25 years is a long time,
Yeah.
and I've got what is it? Up in the shed. I've got a mezzanine, and I've just put them all in the in big storage tubs, but they'll probably end up at the tip.
Recycling, mate, these days, don't they? Don't they
Yeah,
recycle
yeah, they
trophies
do. Yeah,
nowadays? Yeah.
take the plaques off and give them
Yeah.
to some kids
Yeah,
doing
we'll give it to
something.
someone else. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're not racing, Troy, what do you do with yourself? Like, what do you do to
Um,
relax?
yeah. Well, look, I still play a bit of music.
Yeah,
I was doing a few gigs around town, but it's kind of a bit too hard work to do that these days. I mean, I was very fortunate with my band. We had a full road crew, and like life was pretty good. I'd just rock up and jump on a drum kit, play for 2 hours, and then go home.
yeah,
These days, if I do a gig, I've got to pack up the drum kit, put it in the car,
yeah, right.
go to the gig, lug through the crowds. It's just a bit too hard work. But yeah, I still do a bit of music, like I said, and then I do a lot of bike riding because that's my other interest. As I said, I race BMX and then did a heap of road racing, and so I still do quite a bit of that. And that's about it, bro.
Very successful at the bikes, mate, or just
Did all right, mate. I wasn't. I was a good BMX racer. I wasn't the best in the country, but I was all right. But actually, I'm going to show my age. At the age of 50, I won a gold medal for Australia. Sorry, I won an Australian gold medal. So it wasn't an international race; it was a
at the age
national
of
race. But
50.
yeah, but keep in mind they have them in age groups. So I think
Yeah,
it
right.
was 45 to 50-year-olds, for
Yeah,
example.
right.
But it was still really tough, and
Yeah.
I don't want you to picture 50-year-olds that are unfit. These guys are ex-national champions,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
but so that was pretty cool. To get I mean, I guess it's like winning a national title. It's a gold medal. Being the best in the country at what you do in your age group. That was something I'm obviously pretty proud of. And yeah, and then I did a lot of club racing, and yeah, we go all right, mate.
Excellent. That's the way, mate. Good. So
Yeah.
you're never too old. You're never too old. Anyway,
No, well, that's no. I'm totally with you, man. Like, even now, like, I wish I was 50, but I'm a lot further away. I'm closer to 60 than 50. But I think you can, you know, actually, Caden's dad Mark said to me at the national title, "Oh, you're a bit old, bro," but
yeah,
I'm not really a believer in that. My fitness is still up there, and you know, yeah, I think age is just a number.
that's it. And there's plenty of like, oh, I know a couple of 60-year-olds that are still racing speedway. Like, and
Yeah,
they
oh, plenty, yeah,
thoroughly enjoy it. Like, love it.
yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, man. That national title, like, we were unlucky. Like, I was kind of like, I just want to make the A main. That would have been it. And
Yeah.
they said they're going to take the top 20, and we were 19th. And then they said, oh, we can't. We can only take the top 16, and the rest go through the B, right?
Yeah.
So we had to go through the B and got turned around in the first corner.
Yeah.
My point is not that. My point is this. I had a smile on my face the whole weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved it. I love it, man. It's the greatest thing to do. There's nothing can compare to racing that car. And I've played in front of thousands of people in my bands, and I've worked with some great musicians, and I've done some great things.
Yeah.
But I've gone to races in the States where I've sat with Mario Andretti, and I've done all these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's just the best thing in the world is driving a speed car.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Cool. What else have we got planned this season, Troy? We know you're going to the Australian title and the Adelaide 500. What else have we got
Yeah.
planned?
We'll do a little bit of travel.
Yep.
As I said, I'm pretty keen to rack up, kind of maybe 15 shows myself. They got a couple of season openers at Murray Bridge there,
Yep.
so we're going to go. They've got a 2-night show, so that's October. We'll go do that.
Yep.
Um, and then, like I said, man, we'll do the national title with an American.
Yep.
And then we'll see what happens for the 20,000 to win. Over at Adelaide there. We might have it. Might maybe Hayden or who knows. I might do it myself. We'll see. We haven't made plans that far down the track.
Yep. Cool. Cool. Any people you'd like to thank, mate, before we call it a night?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Obviously, my family who supports me, which is amazing. So I want to thank all of them. I've taken on this year. We've taken on a sponsor, Hobbs Trenching. So they've looked after Speedway people for years and years. And Pete, I just reached out to Pete, and he said he'd help me out, which is great. And Procam Engineering have come on board as well to help us out a bit. So there are a couple of sponsors, and then Matt, you've caught me off guard a little bit, but there's people that are always helping me. Andy Pierce is one of them that anything I need, he's always there to help. And I had a local bodywork, Hurstbridge Bodyworks. They painted the car for me. There's always people helping, but there's a couple of new sponsors that I really want to thank. So
Awesome, Troy. We'll stay on the line while we finish the show. Don't go away yet. We'll have a bit of a yak just after we finish the show. But thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to have to catch up again because I could talk to you for hours, Troy. Like me and you are the same. We just love motorsport, and I'm definitely like that. So we could talk for hours, but unfortunately, we can only make the show so long tonight. Otherwise, people
for sure,
a bit, But anyway, thanks for joining us again. Best of luck for the season, and hopefully we'll catch up with you during the season and have a bit of a catch-up yak and see how things are going.
Good on you, mate. Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Troy.